Well, hello, it's Lyndon here. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. And in today's video, I want to look at probably the most iconic alto saxophone tune of all time, which is, of course, Baker Street by Gerry Rafferty. So what a beautiful tune, and thank you so much, Mr. Rafferty, for making it for us, because it's exquisite. It's just absolutely fantastic, and personally, I grew up in that era and it just brings back all kinds of memories for me. Now, when people ask me to play this at gigs, I must share with you that they come up and say, "Oh, can you do that Baker Street?" And I say, "Baker Street? I don't think I know that one. Is it famous?" And they go, "Yeah, you must know it. You play the saxophone, you must know it." And I say, "No, I don't think I've heard of that one, I'm sorry. But I could play something else, but are you sure it was famous?" Anyway, I tease them, and so of course I know this tune. I've played it 76,000 times. And actually, I used to live in London, and my father had an office in Baker Street, so I was down there all the time, and I even busked Baker Street on Baker Street, so I'm fully there with the Baker Street vibe. Now, the thing is that when non-wedding clients or corporate function people ask me to play Baker Street, or if you get asked to play Baker Street, the bit that they're talking about is the bit that goes and all of that good stuff, which is great. But what I want to teach you is the entire tune, including the melody and the part that goes "winding your way down on Baker Street." And I'm also going to encourage you to get a backing track. Now, you might be able to get one from My Buy Me a Coffee, which I can let you have, or you could go to a website called Karaoke Version, and they do very high quality backing tracks. And I'm actually in contact with Karaoke Version, trying to work out an affiliate thing, so maybe I could save you a bit of money there or make it a bit easier. But we'll have to see what happens. But in the meantime, I'll put a link in the description below to Karaoke Version, because they do make excellent backing tracks, and you should definitely play along with this. So first of all, let's have a look at the iconic saxophone lick that without this, I don't know that this tune would have been so enormous. And really, for this, you're going to have to be able to hit D with the palm key. So that's really essential, that you're able to hit D with the palm key on a reliable and regular basis. And just to be crystal clear, it's this palm key here, and you need to be able to hit that accurately every single time without squeaking. If you're not happy about those high notes, have a look through I'll put a link in the description below. I've done a tutorial on high notes, and you should definitely go and make sure that you've spent loads of time at the top end of your saxophone and you can hit it reliably. I'm going to put worksheets at the end of this video with everything that I'm talking about written down. I'm also going to put letters in the titles below so that you can follow what I'm doing. And by the way, these videos take ages to edit. I had no idea when I started doing YouTube that the video would take me 20 minutes to make and the editing would take me like 2 hours. It's just unbelievable, but I'm doing it because I need to spread the saxophone love around. Let's crack on with the tune. So the first line, now I'm not going to do the gliss. The gliss is the word that we use for that run up. I'm not going to do that just now, right? I'm going to put that in at the end. We'll talk about that afterwards, but I want to make this really easy and accessible for everybody that can hit high D. And to do that, and it won't make that much difference if you do it like this, it will still sound absolutely fantastic. You don't have to do the gliss in order to be able to play this tune, but it does sound better with it. But I want to separate those two things out. So your first line is D, D with the octave key to palm key D, then C sharp, B, A, B, C sharp and B, and that's going to sound like this. And that's really the first line. It's fairly straightforward. It's all notes that are contained within the scale or key of D major, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp and D. So If you know your D major scale, that's going to help. So the next line is almost exactly the same, starts with D with the octave key and goes up to palm key D, and is D to palm key D, C sharp, B, A, and then he's got a very bendy F sharp where he bends that note massively, and that sounds something like this. Now, in order to bend that note, I'm dropping my bottom lip down, and if you just want to work on that by itself, then what you can do, it doesn't sound very nice out of context, but you're dropping your lip down. It's almost like an exaggerated vibrato type of movement. So it does take a little bit of practice, but if you can do it, it's going to sound really nice in context. So that line again. Then the third line and the fourth line, he doesn't start from D with the octave key, and when I say he, I'm actually referring to the saxophonist who with the band was Gerry, Raf Ravenscroft. But I'm not sure, now I'm not 100% sure who did the recording of this. I've got a feeling that it was somebody else for the recording, but it's a long story, but there's some dispute about that. But it definitely wasn't Bob Holness, who's an English game show host, and there's a urban myth that he played it. It wasn't him. But anyway, so let's say it was Raf Ravenscroft. So what he does is he goes from F sharp with the octave key up to palm key D, F sharp D, C sharp B, A, and then there's some more kind of bendy notes going on at A and lands on an F sharp. Sounds a bit like this. And again, I'm bending that note in exactly the same way I did before with the F sharp. I'm just dropping my lip down. And then you've got the final line, which is F sharp to D with the palm key, C sharp, B, A, B, C sharp, and B. And then he kind of puts a tag on the end, which is E, D, B, A, B, B, D, 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 E, F sharp. So that is the whole lick. So I'm going to play those 4 lines really slowly, really carefully, and try and get them as accurately as I can. And by the way, my approach to playing this at a gig is that if you saw this played live by a saxophonist, you probably wouldn't do it exactly the same every single time. So in my mind, and please excuse all the jazzers who are like, no, you've got to do it the same. In my mind, if you're making it sound right, but it's not exactly the same every single time, then that's okay. So this is kind of an approximation of what's going on. And that's how I approach it. But it does sound great and people love it when I play this at gigs. It's a proper head turner. So do the whole thing. And that is the iconic lick of Baker Street. So something that we could add to that if we wanted to is the gliss, which does sound absolutely fabulous. And there are a number of ways that you could do this. And the way that I do it is a very, very straightforward, easily accessible way, which is to go up the major scale of the key that we're in, which is D. So I'm just running up the scale like this. From D with the octave key on up to palm key D. So I'm using one breath and I'm running up the notes. If I slow it down further. And what I need to do is to do that 50,000 times. I need to go up and go up that run so many times that it's so fluid and I don't have to think about it anymore. And I seriously think that this is a question of numbers. So it's just how many times you've done it. If you've done it 5 or 6 times, it's not enough. 30 or 40, in reality, 30 or 40 times. It doesn't take very long. It's like a second. Look. You need to do that a whole bunch, and if you can't get that, you need to slow it down. And if that's still too fast, slow it down further. And just slow it right down and make sure that it's right, and just do it a hell of a lot. Do it 50 or 60 times in a day, take a break, sleep on it, come back the next day, do it another 50 or 60 times, take another break, wait another day, it will start to sink in, and then you'll be able to add it in. So in one of the recordings that I've just watched on YouTube, he just does the gliss the first time only for the first line. So that would sound like this. As the tune progresses, he uses the gliss more, and what you should do is have a listen to the original recording and figure out where he puts it in and where you'd like to put it in. And again, you don't have to do it exactly the same as he did it, but the gliss does sound nice, so I'd definitely work on that. Okay, so now we've got the lick of Baker Street down. Let's have a look at the melody so that we can play the entire tune. So if somebody said, can you play me Baker Street, you can do the whole thing. Now, in my mind, there's 2 parts to Baker Street. There's the part where he's singing, winding your way down on Baker Street, da 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 dee dee doo dee da da. There's that part. And then there's another part, which I'm going to call that first part the A section. And then you've got another section which goes, you'd think that it was so easy. You'd think that it was so easy, you're crying. That part. And I'm calling that the B section. So you've got an A and a B section. And the bit that we've just worked on, I think of as the lick. And that is the way that I personally break down this tune. This is not the only way that you can do it. It's just the way that I do it. And it's the way that I teach it, because it's nice and straightforward and everybody gets it. So let's have a look at that A section. And when Gerry Rafferty sings the lyrics, every time he sings the lyrics, he's got a slightly different set of lyrics. So it's not the same every time. What I do is I've taken the first kind of rhythmic ideas of those lyrics and I fix that as my A section, and I just play it like that every time, or I suggest that you play it like that every time. When I'm at a gig, I kind of throw it around a little bit like he would. So what I'm talking about is the first line that goes which in my mind sounds something like, winding your way down on Baker Street, Baker Street. He does that slightly differently every time, but I'm just going to use that as my basis, my foundation, and I'm just going to teach it like that. So I'm not going to go through every single verse and give you every single little variation. I'm going to let you play around with it yourself. By the way, before we go any further, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of the supportive comments and all of the support that I've had from everybody out there. Hello world, Lyndon here. I can't tell you how happy I am, all the fantastic comments and the brilliant feedback. I'm just absolutely over the moon, and thank you to everybody for buying me coffees. I'm well on the way to being able to get a decent computer. My computer is from like 2016 or something, and it's like a ship. No more videos, like this, and I sit there watching this spinning wheel going around. It's driving me nuts. So I'm well on the way to getting a new computer, and things should go a little bit more smoothly, I'm hoping. Let's have a look at that first line. So I'll put the notes in the description below. And then the second line of the A section is very similar. And the third line, now you're going to need low C sharp for that, low C sharp or D flat, which is your low finger on C and the outside flappy pedal, so this one here. If you're not comfortable with the low notes, go and check one of my tutorials. I'll put a link in the description below for you, but you're definitely going to need to hit that. Then the fourth line, and then the last line of the A section. Now you could, if you wanted to, do this up the octave. And when I first started playing this tune, I always did this up the octave. But as the years went on, I thought it sounded nicer down the octave, but you can do it up the octave if you like. So I'm going to put the whole of the A section together now, and let me know in the comments below if you think that this captures the lightness of the tune. So that's the A section, and that happens again. So he repeats it. I would do exactly the same and repeat that section. So let's have a look at the B section. This is really, really straightforward. It's quite short, and you're going to get this with no trouble whatsoever. And that line repeats exactly the same. And then the last line is, you're trying, you're crying now. I might not have the lyrics right there. And then he does that again, so I'm going to play the whole thing. And as I play that last note, I can hear the drums in the backing track going bom, 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 as you go back to the lick. Now, there are a few different versions of this, and I've got a backing track which is not from Karaoke Version. I think it's from another source. And as I said, I'm going to do my best. Don't hold me to this, but so if it's not there, please excuse me. But I'm going to put it on my Buy Me a Coffee so that you can download it. And if you follow that, then the form of this tune is you do the lick once, then you do the A section, and then the A section again, then you do the B section, you do the B section again, and then you do the lick twice. You do the A section another 2 times, the B section another 2 times, then you don't play the lick because there's a very long and very loud guitar solo, and then you do the lick twice after the guitar solo, and that's the form. So now I'm going yeah, what a great tune. So, you know, if you go and play this at a gig or a barbecue, or if you go busking with this, prepare to be bombarded with love and people going, I love that tune, that's absolutely fantastic. It's a really, really, really great tune to learn. Right, worksheets are going to be the end of this video. I'm going to try and supply with a backing track as well. I really hope you found that useful. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the people that send love and supportive comments and coffees. That's really, really, really helpful. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. I hope this is useful. Take care. Bye.